Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari 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 Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Rana Vandana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Rana Nandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Nandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we have a special topic for today. Coming Wednesday is Nityananda Tirolashi, the Parents' Day of Lord Nityananda, and so we will be today discussing about Lord Nityananda overall. When we say the starting point should actually be like when we say the appearance of the Lord, what do we mean by that? Like why do we say appearance? Srila Prabhupada in very different analogies and everything explains to us that we have understood the very basic principles from Bhagavad Gita, that there's a difference between body and soul for conditioned living entities such as us. But the Lord is absolute. There's no difference between the body, the Lord Himself, His form, His name, His instructions, everything that is associated to Him, even His paraphernalia, they're all equal to the Lord Himself. So why do we not say the birth of the Lord? Because For living entities, there is birth. Because for us, we take up a material body, which is temporary form, and that process is birth. With birth, there is an associated entity, which is death, which will always come in. So when we talk of living entities which are conditioned, which are not liberated, there is birth for them. And so we don't use the term of birth for the Lords, because when the Lord descends, they descend in their own original form. There is no difference between the Lord being in Vaikuntha versus the Lord being in the material world. And He visible to our eyes or not visible to our eyes, there is no difference. He always exists as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no matter what. Right? How do we understand this? This is a little bit of intricate subject matter, which is probably for somebody like me who's not that intelligent, could be difficult to understand. And that is where Srila Prabhupada takes a very wonderful analogy, and he explains to us in terms of the appearance and disappearance of the sun every day. In the morning when the sun rises, we very easily just say, oh, the sun has come, or the sun has risen, as if the sun was not existing before. The sun always existed. It's towards the end of the day that when the sun sets, we say, oh, the sun has set into the ocean, the sun is gone, right? So we use these terms thinking that sun, because we don't see the sun does not exist. But the appearance or disappearance of the sun does not pertain to the existence of the sun itself. It's just the fact that when it is morning, when the sun starts, it is above the horizon, and we are able to see the sun. But the sun always existed in its full potencies, no matter what. Similarly, the appearance, we say the appearance of the Lord, because the Lord always exists in His original full potence form, and it is just that for His own leelas, He just appears and He disappears from our eyes in that form. But He's always existing, like even now, He's existing in the form of His name, He's existing in the form of His eternal forms, as we see in the Archvigraha forms. So He's existing. And He's still the Supreme Personality of God, and He's still the controller. If we don't see, when we go to Vrindavan, we don't see Krishna and Balram doing their pastimes over there, does not mean they don't exist over there. It is just disappearance from our perspective. The other analogy that Srila Prabhupada takes, again, it's in the terms of explaining what Maya means, but again, the same applies, is, the sun exists over there, but in the sky when it becomes cloudy, that cloud is what comes in front of our eyes, but it's not covering the sun. These clouds cannot cover the sun, can it? Right? So when we are in that consciousness of being influenced by Maya, or the modes of material nature, that is why we are not able to see the Lord. The Lord always exists. So when we say appearance of Lord Nityananda is happening on is Wednesday, so we mean that is the day when Lord Nityananda actually came up in a form very mercifully for Him to be able to show Himself to the conditioned souls, so that they can see His activities, interact with Him, and understand the Lord a little better. Because for us, we are low intelligence, we can't just perceive the Lord's presence and His activities. A similar term is also used, which is Vyasa Puja, which is a term used in the context of gurus. The appearance days of gurus is when we celebrate the Vyasa Puja. But why do we celebrate the Lord's appearance? When we celebrate birthdays, our birthday or family member's birthday, there are different school of thought that comes in over there also. Some say, okay, it was your birthday, the day in which you were born, very good, let's celebrate it. Then there is another school of thought, and what are you celebrating? You spend another day, you got your lifespan, remaining lifespan is shortened by 1 year, what are you celebrating? Right? So there is this controversy that will keep going on with respect to our birth and our birthday celebrations. But then, with respect to the appearance of the Lord, there is no controversy. The importance of it and our importance to celebrate it is very clearly being given in the scripture. In the Bhagavad Gita, it says, Janma karma chame divyam. Krishna is saying, Janma, my appearance, my birth, and my karma, the activities itself, are divyam. They are transcendental in nature. They're not like ordinary, like what we were talking about, like a material conditioned soul taking birth in a material body is not equivalent to the appearance of the Lord. We say the appearance of Lord Ram, we say the appearance of Lord Krishna, we say the appearance of Lord Nityananda or Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, anybody. It's not the same, right? And that is why it's saying Janma Karma Chame Divyam. They're divine, they're transcendental. And okay, understood that, but then what next? He explains that. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo eti tatvataha fakta devam punarjanma naiti mam eti sarjana. He's saying my activities and my birth are transcendental. Okay? Janma karma chame divyam. Understood that part. But evam yo eti tatvataha, one who understands this, which means also that not everybody understands it, but one who is able to understand the fact that the activities of the Lord and his birth are transcendental. What happens to them? Such a living entity does not take birth again. So that is why when we say, okay, let's celebrate the appearance of Lord Nityananda, that's one of the reasons why we are celebrating the appearance of Lord, because by that we are trying to meditate on the fact that they are transcendental and meditating on the Lord themselves, and being able to try and understand our position, the Lord's position, and our constitutional positions with Him in terms of His relationship.
Your question, how do you understand that? To me, it's knowledge. Who understands my ability, apart from living, they wouldn't come back. But how do I understand that? I have 2 plus 2 plus 4, I understand that. When see Krishna, he does something, we know it's transcendental. But how do we understand that transcendence? How do we see that? No, that is transcendental because of so and so and so. Not because he's Krishna, right? We all know that. It's knowledge. But how do you realize that transcendence?
Yeah. Well, that's a very good question. Thank you, Prabhu. So how do we understand that the appearance of the Lord and His activities are actually transcendental and not material and equivalent to us? I'm going to just explain it in a very simple terms, and we can have an offline conversation if needed. The presence of microwaves, radio waves, etc. If we start discussing that, does radio waves, all of these exist? People will say you're talking theoretically that yes, they exist, but show it to me. That could be one question, but we know that from our eyes directly or through any of our senses, we cannot directly perceive these things. These are energy forms. But we have to use the correct instrument. We need to know about them, and we have to use the correct instrument to be able to perceive. So in the similar ways, when we are using we are trying to understand the divine nature of the Lord and His activities, then we are supposed to be using the correct instruments. And that instruments is what has been given to us by the Parampara system, the entire process of Krishna consciousness. It is when we do that, that is when that realization of the fact will come in for sure. It is not fanatic. It is not just somebody just saying frantically, like, I just feel it, I feel the presence of Lord. No, the Lord does exist. We just have to use the right methods. We have to scientifically follow the process. Right? That is when we will understand it. So, let's talk about Lord Nityananda real quick, right? Because, Nityananda, the name, if you split it, Srila Prabhupada explains that. Nitya and Ananda. Okay? He's the one who's always transcendently in bliss. And he's not only in bliss, he's the one who's always giving that bliss to everybody. I'm going to make, with your permission and your support, I'm going to make a bold attempt, because I'm not a good singer, as you all know. But there's this very beautiful song written by Vrindavan Das Thakur, glorifying Lord Nityananda. And if you are able to, we would love to kind of just offer that to the Lord. And it describes everything about Lord Nityananda and how we are supposed to be perceiving. While the papers are being given out, I'll read the translation so that we can understand. Glory, glory to Lord Nityananda. He is Lord Balaram himself. He delivers the fallen sinners. He extends, to deliver the fallen sinners, he extends his 2 arms. His half words spoken in a choked voice are the sweetest nectar. Whoever he sees, he hugs in the ecstasy of spiritual love. His eyes are always restless. They are like two black bees flying among golden lotus flowers. Lord Nityananda is the master of mercy. Seeing the people tormented by troubles, he strings for them a necklace of Lord's holy names. To person after person, he gives that necklace. The arrogant blasphemers and sinners, he rips into shreds. To the poor fallen people, he gives the gift of ecstatic spiritual love. Calling out, oh Gauranga, he falls to the ground. His whole body is soaked with tears. In his heart, Vrindavanadasa thinks, now Lord Nityananda, like golden Mount Sumeru, fallen to the ground. So, the lyrics is actually Bengali. I'll try my best to do these correct pronunciations, but please excuse if I pronounce the words more like Hindi than Bengali. Just let it get distributed. Does everybody have? So we'll go line by line, and feel free to, improvise it too, because I'm not good at it. Jaya Jaya Nityananda Rohini Kumara Jaya Jaya
Nityananda Rohini Kumara
Patita udara lagi sobahu pasara
Patita udahare lagi subahu pasara
Gada gada madhura madhura adha bola
Gada gada madura madura ada bola
Pare dekha gare prema dhariya diya khola
Pari ek gari preme dari deya khola
Jaya Jaya Nityananda Rohini Kumara
Jaya Jaya Nityananda Rohini Kumara
Patita udhara lagi sobahu pasara
Patita udahara lagi subahu pasara
Dagmagalochana Goriya Nirantara
Daga magalochana goreya nirantara
Sonara kamale yena priyaye brahmara
Sonara kamale yene vireyai pamara
Dayara Thakurani tai paradukha jane
Dayare takuranitai paraduk jani
Hari name mala ganthi dila jane jane
Hari namare mala ganti dil jane jane
Jaya Jaya Nityananda Rohini Kumara
Jaya Jaya Nityananda Rohini Kumara
Patita udhara lagi sobahu pasara
Patita udhara Subahu Pasara.
Papi pasandiyata karila dalene.
Papi Pasandiyata Karila Dalane.
Dinahina jane kaila prema vitarene.
Dinahina Jane Kaya Prema Bitarane.
Jaya Jaya Nityananda Rohini Kumara.
Jaya Nityananda Rohini Kumara.
Patita udhara lagi sobahu pasara.
Patita udhara lagi Subahu Pasara.
Ahare Gauranga Bali Pare Bhumi Tale.
Ahare Gauranga Bali Padi Bhumitale.
Sharira Vijila Nitari Nayane Rajale.
Sarira Bijilan Nitare Nayanare Jale.
Vrindavana dase mane eva vicharila.
Vrindavana Dase Mane Ebe Vicharila.
Harina upare kiva sumeru padila.
Dharani Pare Kiba Sumeru Padila.
Jaya Jaya Nityananda Rohini Kumara.
Jaya Jaya Nityananda Rohini Kumara.
Patita udhara lagi sobahu pasara.
Patita udhara lagi Subahu Pasara.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Jaya Nityananda Ram Jaya Nityananda Ram Jaya Nityananda Ram Jaya Nityananda Ram
Jaya Nityananda Ram Jaya Nityananda Ram Jaya Nityananda Ram Jaya Nityananda Ram.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nityananda Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Hari Bol.
So you can see in this song, Vrindavan Das Thakur is so beautifully expressing what Lord Nityananda and his mood is actually. So, the scriptures very beautifully describe Lord Nityananda, like he's in different places, is described the one wearing blue garments very nicely. And then in his left hand he has this pot of water. And very beautiful descriptions, long arms, beautiful long hair. All of those beautiful descriptions are basically for us to be able to meditate on Lord Nityananda and Lord Gauranga, so that we can try and get their mood. Right? Now the first line of this very song, it says he's Lord Balarama himself, which goes as Rohini Kumara is Lord Balaram, and he's saying Lord Nityananda is nobody but Lord Balaram himself. Right? Who is Lord Balaram? Let's understand it in a couple of contexts. So, we obviously know Lord Balaram as Krishna's elder brother, with whom Balaram would always assist Krishna in all his leelas. But we also know that Baladev, Balaram, is also the first expansion from Krishna himself. And he is the one who sustains everything. He is the one from whom all other expansions come in. He is the first expansion. And from him, for example, Srimad Bhagavatam would very nicely describe that from him comes the quadruple expansion. And what are the quadruple expansions? They are Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. And then from Sankarshan, we know the further expansions happens to Mahavishnu, and then from Mahavishnu to Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, then Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, and so on and so forth. We know all of these things as the glories of Lord Balaram. Right? We know also from the scriptures the fact that Lord Balaram, Lord Nityananda, and Lakshmana are all the same. Right? Now, there is this pastime also in which, the mood of Nityananda Prabhu or Balaram or Lakshmana is always to serve the Lord. They are in that mood always. So in the Rama Leela, when Lakshmana came in as the younger brother, he in some places found that in order to follow his elder brother, he could not serve the Lord as well as he wanted to. In that he is in that mood and I want to do more. So they're like, okay, I'm going to come in as elder brothers now. So Balaram, he comes in as the elder brother, and Nityananda is also elder to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Nityananda's appearance is 12 years before Lord Chaitanya. So all of this is the mood in which we see Lord Nityananda Balaram doing things. But there's this very beautiful lecture by Srila Prabhupada on the day of Nityananda Tirodashi in India, in which he's explaining the fact that Balarama, that Bala means strength. And he's explaining the fact that strength, when we usually think of it, we usually end up thinking in the terms of material strength, in terms of bodily strength, political strength, financial strength, all of these different material strength, and the influence that it can do, etc. Right? But when we are talking of Balaram, we don't, and in case of Balaram, by the way, physical strength in terms of being able to sustain all planetary systems, like as Ananta Shesha, all the universe is being supported on his hood, all of that does show in terms of his physical Bala also, but the Balaram, the Bala is actually the spiritual power. That is the spiritual power that we get from Lord Nityananda, we get from Balaram. And that is what should be our takeaway for today also, where we, see Lord Balaram as a source of the spiritual power that is going to help us to progress in this path of spirituality. That is going to help us in order to be able to get rid of all the unwanted anarthas within us. This Bala, this strength is what is going to help us not to get deviated every time there is a distraction happening. This Bala, this strength is the one which is going to always keep us motivated and interactive towards the right things. That is what Bala in Balaram actually means. It's not just physical strength in terms of sustaining, it is a strength in order to sustain your spiritual life also, your spiritual path also. Now, for that reason also Nityananda and Balaram, they're also called as being the original Guru. And I'm going to read a very quick snippet from Krishna book as Srila Prabhupada explains this concept to us. Saying, in the Upanishad it is stated, Nayam Atma Bala Hanena Labhya. The purport is that one cannot attain the supreme platform of self-realization without being sufficiently favored by Balaram. Bala does not mean physical strength. No one can attain spiritual perfection by physical strength. One must have the spiritual strength which is influenced by Balaram or Sankarshana, Ananta or Shesha, is the source of the power which sustains all the planets in their different positions. Materially, this sustaining power is known as the law of gravity, but actually it is a display of the potency of Sankarshan, Balaram. Balaram or Sankarshan is the source of spiritual power or the original spiritual master. Therefore, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, who is also the incarnation of Balaram, is the original spiritual master. And the spiritual master is the representative of Balaram, the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who supplies spiritual strength. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is confirmed that the spiritual master is the manifestation of the mercy of Krishna. This is from Krishna book. Now the book is there in case you don't have it. It's a wonderful book to read. So Srila Prabhupada is very nicely explaining the fact, that for our spiritual progress, we need this spiritual strength, and that spiritual strength is the source of it is coming in from the original Guru Nityananda or Balaram or Ananta Shesha. And the way that mercy is actually flowing down to us is through this dissipate succession, the parampara system amongst the gurus. So the way it is described also is the fact is that we cannot directly approach Krishna. We cannot directly become Krishna's dasa. We cannot directly become the devotee of Krishna. This is dasa no dasa. That is the term which explains the fact that we are supposed to be the devotee of the devotee of the devotee of the devotee. Also pertaining to the fact that evam paramparam praptir, that Gyan is supposed, this knowledge and the entire practice of spirituality is supposed to be attained through via this parampara system, one guru after the other. So how does this work? How does an ordinary human being all of a sudden become a guru, and a guru is now becoming a representation of Krishna, and then he becomes a source of liberation for anybody else? When we accept a position in the parampara system, when we accept the guru, we connect it to the lineages, the entire line of succession that takes us back to Krishna. So whenever we are serving our guru, and the way we serve guru is to serve his, is to follow his instructions, like every pariprashna sevaya, asking our questions, inquiring from them submissively, and rendering service unto them. That is how we serve our guru. And the guru, similarly, the succession goes up. They are serving Balaram, Nityananda, who are serving the gopis in terms of assisting them in the leelas. The gopis are helping the Ashta, the primal 8 gopis, who help Lalita Vishaka, help Radharani, and then who serve Krishna. If we think that we are able to directly go and serve Krishna, we cannot. Nobody is able to do that, and that's very clearly been mentioned in the scriptures. The way we are able to get our services to Krishna is through this via medium only. We cannot just go in and, when we are depositing money into an account or something, we have to go to an authorized counter or an authorized outlet. Only through that are you able to perform certain actions. When we are able to see that in the material world, that I just cannot throw my letter on the street and it reaches its destination. I have to go to a particular authorized place to post my letter, and through the authorized process itself, does that letter reach its destination? Then how can we believe that reaching to Krishna could be any different? Like, these are just nothing but examples in front of us for us to understand. So a process is to assist the guru, who assists Balaram, who assists gopis, who assists the Ashta gopis, Lalita, Vishaka, Radharani, and then Krishna. That is a process by which we actually serve Krishna. We cannot directly do that. And and that is the reason why we have to always worship at the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda and beg for that mercy, that can you please engage me in your service. He is the embodiment of mercy. Guru is also an embodiment of mercy of Krishna, as we just read. So that what is that mercy? That mercy is to be engaging us in His service. When we, how many of you are working at office, at some workplace? Anyone? Right? Okay. So whenever we are working anywhere, even if we are visiting somebody or even if we are at home, can we just be there inertly not doing anything? Right? If we go to a workplace and they just say, come and sit here and do nothing. Will that help us in any sense? Like, does that feel completely full within us? We don't feel good about it, right? So our nature is to serve. That's our constitutional position. No matter where we are, either we're going to serve the bosses in the office or the bosses at home, or our country or our community or whatever we serve, we're going to be serving somebody or the other. That is our constitutional position. So when we are understanding from the parampara system, then we will come to the point of understanding that the Jivere Sarvai Krishna Nitya Das. What that means is that our original constitutional position is always to serve. And it is to serve Krishna. Now Krishna is very merciful. He gives us the option. He's saying either serve me directly or you serve me indirectly. Like when we serve directly is when we are doing actions for Krishna, like Arjuna fighting on the battlefield of Kurukshetra for Krishna. That's a direct service. Or we are serving Guru, or we are following the parampara system. That's also serving Krishna directly, because we are through that channel we are serving Krishna. That's one option that we have. Our flexibility is, if we don't do that, then we will serve Krishna in an indirect form. And what is that? We end up serving Krishna indirectly in the form of his energy. We serve Krishna in the form of energy in the sense of, we are serving Maya, which is also Krishna's energy. So that is how we will serve. So when we are serving our country, the country who is the proprietor of that country, Krishna. So we are also serving Krishna in that sense. When we are trying to serve somebody in our family also, like trying to take care of our family members also, who are they? They are living entities, parts and parcels of Krishna. Again, we are serving Krishna. So there is no way that we cannot be serving Krishna, because that's our constitutional position. And to serve Krishna and to be able to do that, that is what is our eternal duty, the Sanatana Dharma. So, because we have been given that intelligence, now we have given that choice, we have been given that independence, that we can choose to directly serve Krishna by, as per his instructions, directly understanding him, or by indirectly serving him. Right? If we choose to indirectly serve him, then we don't understand, like, okay, let's take an analogy again, right? There's a worker who's picking up all these bricks and putting the concrete and, creating the wall and everything. There are two types of workers that, people would always talk about, and they use this example for a different reason in the material world. But they talk about saying, one of the labor is saying, when they're asked, what are you doing? One of the labor would say, I'm actually picking up the brick and putting concrete on top of it. Whereas the other is saying, I'm building this castle. The difference is, one understands the actual ultimate purpose of their action, and hence intelligently knows how to best perform their action so that the ultimate goal is being fulfilled. Whereas the other, for them, it's just a step. Pick, put, pick, put, pick, put. For them, they're not using the intelligence, they're just going to keep doing it, even it makes sense towards the ultimate objective or not. So who's more intelligent? The one who's understanding the full context, the full objective. So we who have been given the intelligence, we have been given the intelligence to be able to question things around us. And that is why Krishna also says, like Pariprashna Seva, you're supposed to be asking questions and question everything, because you've been given the intelligence to do that. And while questioning that, you have to understand what is the purpose of all our actions. Which is the place where it all comes up and joins in the end. Which is to serve Krishna. One who is intelligent, one who understands the purpose of life as being to serve Krishna, they are the ones who will be taking actions intelligently in order to be able to achieve that objective. The others may just be performing actions without even knowing it also, and maybe facing consequences because of it. Right? So, this very same mood of serving is also seen very strongly with Lord Nityananda. Like the entire lifespan. So, I'm again reading in from a part where it said, Lord Nityananda, he served Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's Krishna himself, for those who don't know. He's appeared in the form of a devotee taking the mood of Radharani. He's Krishna himself, just to teach us how you're supposed to be a devotee, because we don't even know that. So he's mercifully come in as a devotee to lead by example, as a role model, to see this is how you're supposed to be devotees. You guys even don't know how to do that. Right? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's always serving Krishna, Nityananda Prabhu, who's always serving Krishna, like as Balram is serving Krishna, as Lakshman is serving Shri Ram, as Anantashesh also is serving Narayan, and so on and so forth. In all these different forms, he's always there serving the Lord. Right? So even as Lord Nityananda, he's obviously going to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he serves him in three different ways. Because as I said, his appearance is 12 years before Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He also serves Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as in the role of a guru sometimes. And I'll talk about an incident going down, but he also serves Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a friend sometimes. They call the brothers. Like they're always together, doing things together as friends always do. But he also knows his position and he always serves Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a servant also. So these are the three different modes in which Nityananda Prabhu always serves Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that mode he takes up to the heart. We can quickly, I think we have time for that, so I can give you a little rundown of his entire leelas from his appearance so that we can meditate on him better. And for those who are not aware about Nityananda Prabhu, is there anybody who's coming in for the first time? Thanks. Welcome. Thank you. So because maybe you might not know who Nityananda Prabhu is and his entire transcendental activities, so just a quick rundown. So the appearance of Lord Nityananda, which is called the Nityananda Tirodashi, happened on a Tirodashi, which means it's the 13th day. 13th day of the waxing moon on the month of Megha. So, we say Janma Ashtami, that's Ashtami. Rama Navami is Navami. So in the similar way, the Nityananda Tirodashi is a Tirodashi. So Wednesday is when the Tirodashi is going to happen. So his appearance happened in Ekal Chakra Dham, and the amazing jivas who served him in terms of his father and mother is Hadai Pandit and Mother Padmavati. They are the mother and father. So when he appeared, because for the first 12 years, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not appeared so far. So his leela was that he would go around enacting all Krishna leelas. Right? And everybody in his village would look at all of that. He would be so absorbed in presenting all of this Krishna leela to everybody that people would just kind of appreciate the fact that how talented is this person who's able to present all of these leelas. They're thinking in terms of him being an amazing actor, not realizing the fact that he is Nityananda Prabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, and he's enacting all the leelas that he himself has done. So he's presenting himself in that sense, right? So only a few at that time were starting to get that doubt in their mind. Is he an incarnation? Is he something special? Because nobody can just be presenting the leelas so beautifully as Lord Nityananda was doing in his childhood. In one particular instance, it's mentioned that one of the boys, he dressed himself in Akura, and they were playing the part of the Leela where Akura comes and takes Krishna and Balaram with him. And all the gopis, they're in the mode of separation, and they're like, oh Krishna, where are you going? Oh Balaram, where are you going? We cannot live without you. If you read in Srimad Bhagavatam, there's this beautiful description of how the gopis are hanging around the wheels of the chariot, not letting it move. You can't go, you can't leave us, what are we going to do without you? So that entire mood is what is going on in terms of a play in front of Lord Nityananda. And his obvious reaction immediately is he starts crying and he starts to express that mode of separation so strongly, and he's doing that act of being one of the gopas. Okay, and his enactment is so strong that people get confused that is he actually still acting or is he actually feeling it? So that was the intense love that Lord Nityananda has always had for the Lord, and that is what he was expressing. And when he was asked like what's happening, then he would say, these are my own pastimes. And right now, by doing all of this, I'm just allowing you all to see them. That is his mercy to be able to connect everybody to Krishna. So it so happens that like this 12 years passes by, like close to his 13th birthday, there's a traveling medicate who comes up and visits their place. And as the Vedic system goes, he was like, he's welcomed into the house and he's saying, whatever you feel like taking, please take it, because the mood was always to serve a saintly person. And whatever they wanted, the grahastha is supposed to be providing. That is the mood, right? And this person, this sannyasi, he says like, nothing else, I just need a travel companion. And then he says, your son, Nityananda, would be the best travel companion for me. So at the age, at 13 approximately, Nityananda leaves home, and then he's traveling around. He does that for the next 20 years. And then he finally kind of comes to a point where he's initiated by Lakshmipati Tirtha. When we look at the Bhagavad Gita, at the end of the introduction, you can see the entire parampara system. It's listed in the 19th in our parampara system. And then there are amazing, beautiful descriptions of how Lakshmipati Tirtha's disciple, Madhavendra Puri, 20th in our parampara system, he happens to meet Lord Nityananda. And when they both meet each other, they're so much filled with ecstatic love that they just faint. That's the loving exchanges that Lord Nityananda has taught us of how we're supposed to be dealing with Vaishnavas. And then it was, to just give a context also, it was in year 1506 when, while doing all of these travelings, that Nityananda Mahaprabhu finally ended up meeting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this was in Nadia. And now this is where we again supposed to be learning from the Buddha. They're teaching us by example. So when they met, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Mahaprabhu finally met, right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, you are the original Guru. So I'm supposed to be performing a Vyasa Puja for you. So he brings up all the paraphernalia and says, I'm going to perform a Vyasa Puja. And Nityananda Prabhu says, no, you cannot do it. You are my Lord. How can you do Vyasa Puja to me? I am supposed to be worshipping you. So that is how their first interaction happens, where both of them are actually wanting to serve each other. So Krishna wants to serve his disciples, the disciples want to serve, the devotees want to serve Krishna, and Krishna wants to serve devotees. That's always the case. They both derive pleasure in serving each other. So, and that is also what has been demonstrated over here. And one of the so there are many pastimes that Lord Nityananda and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu together do in Navadvip Dham. And one of the most commonly discussed ones and the most amazing ones is this Leela about Jagai and Madai. Right? So what is happening is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought in this movement of Sankirtana. Sankirtana is where, suppose we go out, we sing the glories of the Lord in terms of doing the Kirtan, and we are trying to give the love of Krishna to everybody else in terms of distributing books, in terms of telling everybody of Krishna, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the Jakoteka was the Krishna Upadesh. That is the instruction in which you're supposed to be going in, not only giving Krishna to yourself, but giving it to everybody. Srila Prabhupada, with that same mood in the instructions that he received from his Guru Maharaj, also came to the Western countries because he was told to come and give Krishna in English to these Westerners who don't know anything about religion. Right? So it is with that instruction that there was amazing Sankirtan that used to go on at that time. And the mercy was to the extent that they would give scriptures handwritten. There was no printing press at that time. So, in one of these door-to-door missions of preaching that Nityananda Prabhu was doing, on the way he sees these two persons, Jagai and Madai, two brothers, and these two were the biggest sinners in terms of they doing everything that was incorrect. They were feared in the entire place, and they were like the role models of the don'ts. They were the feared personalities around, right? To the extent where, it's also mentioned that Chitragupta, when he's trying to write down the list of sins and kind of describing all of that, he's saying that when he was trying to tally out all the complete sins, he actually collapsed out of exhaustion because there is so much of sin that these people have done. So that is the state of Jagai and Madai. And now, when Nityananda Prabhu looks at them, he feels compassionate even for them. And he's saying, if I am able to get these two to surrender to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, take up the process of devotion, then the entire Navdeep Dham will take up the process, because that becomes the exemplary thing of saying, if they take it, then, if it can purify them, then it can purify me. Like with the very same mood also, Srila Prabhupada, when he came, he said, okay, I'm going to first target New York in America, because if Americans take to devotion, then the rest of the world will follow. Right? To create role models, examples, saying the most difficult place, if you are able to target that, then everybody is like, Srila Prabhupada takes this also beautiful example of saying, when you are trying to preach, you're supposed to be putting in the best of the effort, and he compares that effort, even if he thinks it's not going to be successful, he compares that to the shooting of a rhino. You know how thick-skinned the rhino is? A bullet cannot pierce the skin of a rhino. So Srila Prabhupada says, it's like shooting of a rhino. Try to shoot the rhino, not in the literal sense, but try to shoot the rhino, because he's saying, if you are not able to shoot, people will say it was an impossible task anyways. That's okay, not a problem. But in case you are able to do that, then the people's reaction would be, oh wow, you've done such a wonderful thing. So Srila Prabhupada, that's why he said that our preaching mood should be that go approach anybody and everybody and give them Krishna Upesh, because with that mood, if you succeed, wonderful task. If not, it is a very difficult thing anyways to do. It's fine. Not a problem, nothing lost. So with that very same mood, again, Nityananda Prabhu is wanting to approach Jagai and Madai, and as soon as he's trying to come and says, Hare Krishna, can you please chant a little and something, and then they react in the way we see a lot also sometimes. That's for our purification, wonderful. But we see like people reacting explosively in terms of, what? How? No, go away from here. You guys are the most crooked people. You take up away all our monies and you do all of these things for your own, luxury living in the temples, etc. Blah 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 blah. So Jagai Madai in the similar mood is like saying, go away, don't trouble us. Okay, but Nityananda Prabhu, very compassionate, very merciful, again approaches them and says, please, dears Jagai and Madai, please take up this process. It is for your own good. There is nothing in it for me. It is for your own good. So, Madai, out of the two brothers, Madai, the Jagai and Madai, the brother Madai, actually picks up this clay pot and he throws at Nityananda, and it goes and hits him in his head, and he starts bleeding. Now, as soon as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to know about this, and Nityananda Prabhu has been hit by somebody when he was trying to preach and when he was trying to do good for them, he comes up in his original form with this Sudarshan chakra and says, I'm going to kill them. And that is when we see the most compassionate nature of Nityananda Prabhu, who is very compassionately now going and approaching Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Please forgive them. Please forgive them, because your mission as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not to kill the bad people, but to kill the bad within them. The process of Krishna consciousness is to help us kill the bad doing propensity within us. There are so many other processes in the scriptures. Go take a dip in the Ganga, sin's gone. Do this, sin gone. Go this, it's like a sale going on in the Vedic scriptures for removing your sins. But all of them will remove your sins, but will not remove the sinful tendency. And so you'll keep encouraging it again and again. What's the point? It's like elephant bath. As Srila Prabhupada calls it, it's Hathi Snan. You go, take a bath, and throw mud on yourself again. What's the big deal? Right? So, Nityananda Prabhu very compassionately is kind of coming to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please, your mission right now is to kill the bad doing propensity in all of these people. Please don't kill them, kill their bad. And now this is one more important aspect for us to understand as a takeaway. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I can forgive Jagai, but I cannot forgive Madai because he's the one who hit you. We can do sins. The Lord is willing to let go of our sins, but not willing to let go of our offenses against our Vaishnavas. He's saying, unless you say that it is okay for me to forgive him, I will not. So Nityananda Prabhu, out of his supreme compassion, he says, no, please forgive them. So looking at all of this interaction that happens between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, Jagai and Madhai, they feel there is something special over here. Why is Nityananda Prabhu taking so much of trouble? Despite the fact that we hit him, his head is bleeding. Even in that mode, he is being so compassionate towards us. And so they take up the process of Krishna consciousness. And they take up to the extent when they become devotees who are passing on this to a lot of other people. So that is how compassionate Lord Nityananda overall is. And any Vaishnava who is trying to follow a parampara system also tries to imbibe that compassion that Nityananda Prabhu has. That is why our instructions, or as Srila Prabhupada calls it in one of his books also, is titled, it's our family business. And our family business does not mean just the people who are coming to ISKCON who are wearing these dhoti kurtas and tilak and everything. When we say the family business, it means the family business of all living entities. We are supposed to be taking up this process very sincerely. Because that is the purpose of our human form of life. We're supposed to be using all our intelligence to answer questions. We're supposed to be intelligent enough to think what actually makes sense. Is doing all of these different effort only for the sake of getting money and fame, which will become zero at the time of death anyways, is intelligent? Or is it more intelligent to take first priority for devotional service, which even if we don't complete as a process in this life, remains with us and continues on in the next life? What is more intelligent? Are you going to just keeping in money into a place which you know is going to, the way I like to take this example is, say for example, you're traveling in a bus or a train, and you're allocated a seat. You know when you reach your destination that you're going to you'll be removed from that seat and you'll have to go away from there. Do you spend your entire journey in cleaning, beautifying that seat? Oh, let me make it beautiful. Let me put a nice velvet cloth on this seat. Let me make it more comfortable. Let me put all these fancy LED lights, whatever, right? Whatever we think is beautiful and decorative, right? We don't do all of that on that seat because we are just temporary. Our priority is to reach the destination. Oh, this seat is so wonderful, so comfortable. Even if we have reached the destination, I'm not going to get down on it. We don't do that, right? Because we know the objective is the destination and not the seat. So in the same way, the human form of our body and all the other associated activities that we are doing in our material world in terms of doing education, taking care of a family, everything is actually meant for the ultimate objective of realizing our own original constitutional position. If we are doing all of these other things without understanding the objective, all of this is waste. It's going to get zero at the time of death, and you'll start all over again. And then again zero, and then all over again. So not that we have an aversion towards going to colleges, going to jobs and everything. That's not what Krishna said. He said to Arjuna to fight. Do his duty as a Kshatriya also. He's not saying just run away, become stop doing everything. He's just saying do everything for me. And that's a very beautiful science when we keep reading the scriptures. For those who don't have a Bhagavad Gita at home, please take a copy of it today. Read the Bhagavad Gita, understand that science of how every action can be performed for Krishna. Whatever you're doing, you don't have to do much, you just have to add Krishna in front of it. Everything that we are doing today is all zeros. So, good education, zero. Good career, zero. Beautiful body, strong body, zero, 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 zero. All of them are zero. And we feel no matter how many zeros I keep adding together, the value still is zero. How do we increase the values of zero? By adding a 1 in front of it. And what is that 1? That 1 is Krishna. Everything, keep all your zeros. Just add 1 in front of it to give it value. So that everything that you have that can be used in the service of Krishna. And then all of this trail of zeros with just 1 added in front of it, you wish that is the bank balance we had.
Billion.
So with that, I'm gonna stop. We're almost at time. We can take 1 minute for any quick question or comment, and then it should be time for our tea. Thank you so much. Any questions or comments or any realization? Anybody wants to add? challenge is.
Is there any stories regarding Jigai and Madai, like how far they got into Krishna consciousness at the end of their life or anything like that?
I have not read about it. Could be Srila Prabhupada mentioned somewhere, but I'm not aware of that. Yeah. I read that part where it clearly mentioned they took up the process of devotional service very seriously and took up the Sankirtana movement in their heart. So by that, you can extrapolate and understand where they would go. But I think that's the only way I've read. Any final comment before we close? Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna, Hare Lord.
Take it from the